I used to be called Joan Henry. Not John Henry, but Joan Henry. Oh my gosh. And that's when I was like, I don't know, 20 or something like that. And I was married to this dentist who drank too much. And, one day I just said, if you don't stop drinking, I'm out of here. And he sort of, and I said, 6 months. You have 6 months. And, I just didn't want to be married to someone who was drinking. And so 6 months came up and he didn't stop drinking. And so I said, well, I'm going. He was probably pretty shocked. But anyway, what I did was I was living in California and I went to Berkeley and I took my shoes off. And I became sort of a Berkeley hippie. For a couple of years, I didn't wear shoes. I never took LSD because I figured I would be one of those people that would think they were a bird and fly out the window. There had been a kid that had done that. So no, I didn't want. But so that's how I got started on this trip. And I've been in Berkeley a couple of years, San Francisco too. And I was living with this guy and his partner, my guy, I loved him. And we decided that we wanted to become Back to the Landers, which was a movement in the 60s where city slickers went to the country to try and grow their own food. Most of them ended up on food stamps because they couldn't. But we lucked out because his parents had a cattle farm. We didn't know anything about cows. And so we said, we said, well, we'll take care of it for you. So that was a freebie. And so we went to Arkansas, where it was, just outside Fayetteville, and became Back to the Landers. And so it wasn't too long before we discovered that, A, he didn't like getting up in the morning. B, he didn't like getting his hands dirty. He was allergic to fescue hay, which was what we fed our cows, and he hated fixing things. Oops, this is not going to work. So he ended up leaving, and I ended up taking care of the farm myself because I had learned a lot about cows, and I just loved the work. But I needed help, and all my friends were vegetarians. And they didn't want to come and help me grow beef cows. So, I was pretty much, this was going to be it. So I decided, okay, I will move to town. And so one day, real hot summer day, I was taking my pet pig, who I'd wanted to have piglets. I called her Bubble Butt. I was taking Bubble Butt to the neighbors so they could raise her and she could have piglets. We were walking on, and so I gave Bubble Butt to the neighbor, and I'm walking back, and I get to the gate to our property, and there's this person standing there, except it was like a ghost. It wasn't a real person. And it was a guy. He was pretty handsome, big guy, and he had Levi jeans and Levi jacket. And he spoke in my head. He didn't talk out loud. And he said, "Hello, Joan." And I went, "This isn't happening. This is a ghost. Don't answer him." And I said, in my head, I said, "Hello." And he said, "It's time to leave, And he meant like leave. And I went, "No, it's not." And he says, "Yes, it is." And I said, "I don't care. I'm not leaving." And then I said, "How long do I have?" "How long?" And he said, 2 months. And I said, "Well, you wait." And I went home. Well, I bought a house. I got a job. 2 months were up. And I got a call. I got a call from the people that had hired me, and they said, "We don't want you working for us. You gossip too much," which is probably true. And then I had to call the house people and say, "Well, I can't buy the house because I don't have a job, and, well, you lose your deposit. Well, too bad." I can't. So I'm sitting there in this place on this farm where I'm going to have to leave and I have nowhere to go. And I get this phone call from this girlfriend of mine who was in this similar situation. Fayetteville was here. I lived in Goshen, which is here, 10 miles on this side. She lived in a farm that was sort of falling apart. She was a back to the lander too. On the other side, 10 miles on that side of Goshen. And she was sort of in this situation too. She was getting out of, and she called me and she said, Joan, she said, my parents just bought me a ticket to London. Do you want to meet me there? And I just went to that ghost. You win. Because you could get a ticket for $100. So that's what I did.